Hey, this is me building a $2 million a year business in public. Last month I made 170 grand in profit. And the way these videos work is we start them off with some questions and some answers from you. Then we do some growth stats, and then I round it out with some live strategy. I don't think I'm going to be doing any of this today just because it's pretty late tonight. I've already gotten most of the day through already, and I just want to make sure I can answer some questions, give you guys some value before I proceed. So Shashanka says, Nick, regarding your coaching side of business, you have one low ticket community and Make Money with Make is a closed community, I guess. Have you thought about a high ticket offer for the Make School community members? If not, is it because you're still in an AI agency field and that part takes more of your time? I know you've said in the past that a teacher has to be doing the things he teaches. So yeah, very true. I think a lot of agency owners typically just get really good at the thing they're doing. And then they immediately be like, okay, well, I should teach this and then I can make money in the teaching. So then they start teaching it, but then they teach it so much and they make so much money with it, they stop doing the agency stuff that they started initially. And when you do that, you end up losing touch with the specific skills and the specific tactics that enabled you to grow your agency in the first place. In short, you become out of touch with the business. And then what are you doing now? You're teaching people an out of touch and out of date business model. So I do think, both from like an ethical perspective, but also just like strategically speaking, if you're not constantly doing the thing that you are talking about, you're just going to get worse at it. And I think people can sniff that shit out a mile away. So yeah. Have I thought about a high ticket offer? I have. It's just not as time leveraged as Maker School right now. So I've only done a little bit of Maker School. Sorry about that. Let's go over here. I've only done a little bit of Maker School today, but check this out. Oh, churn's down to 17%. Incredible. Almost 120,000 MRR. This takes me maybe like an hour to an hour and a half per day to fulfill myself. If you think about that, how many hours a month is that? 30 hours, something like that? 30, 35 maybe? 35 hours for $120,000. My hourly rate's almost 3,000. If I get people in a high ticket, usually the way that it works is I can do something like, $2,000 or $3,000 a month. The $2,000 or $3,000 a month involves maybe one-on-one session every couple of weeks. And then I have to do like 2 or 3 group coaching sessions a month or something. Now, this isn't entirely necessary, but that's kind of what people expect when they pay a few $1,000s a month for some sort of coaching service, right? They expect a lot more personalized work. I've done the math a couple times. The hourly just doesn't work out to be as leveraged as this. It's true I am leaving money on the table because I'm not able to ascend people to a higher ticket offer, but to be honest, yeah, this is much more leveraged, and I've actually built a pretty successful business just going against the grain, I think. Most people are like, dude, you just got to get the high ticket offer, get the sales team, get all that stuff. I'm like, nah, I'd rather just own 100% of it all myself, do it in like an hour and a half a day, and then be done with it. So I don't know. I might be wrong. I don't know. Not really sure. We'll see. But yeah, I am still in the AI agency field, and I think that's really important. Okay, Priyatosh says, what's your take on networking? The way you said a guy gave you a list of YouTube titles. So what can we offer as an AI automation person as a free gift to them? Can we deliver a generic pain point solver template or something like that? Yeah, Priyatosh is basically referencing this guy called Rock who reached out to me with some free value and was just like, hey, here are a bunch of titles you can use. And if you don't end up using them, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you had them. I really like the work that you do and I respect you basically, and take them. Here you go. This sort of approach works really well. I've had a bunch of people do this sort of approach to me, and basically I end up hiring more or less all of them that do a good job. And this is just the consensus between me and all of the people that I think are in the info product space making a lot of money. So if you want to reach out to like a coach or a consultant, at least I can confidently say this works really well with coaches and consultants because I'm one of them. It's worked on me, and it's also worked on a few people that I pitched to. That this is how you do the approach. You do the thing, you offer some deliverable, you offer some value up front before you even talk to the person. And you make it optimized so that the very first thing the person sees is that 1, this is personalized. And then 2, you've actually done a ton of work, and you alert them to the fact that you've done a ton of work for them, but you don't make it a big deal. Then you put the work in front of them. If the work is good, they tend to want to get back to you a lot. It's kind of like optimized outreach in 2025. So can you deliver a generic pain point solver template or something like that? No, you can't do it generically, unfortunately. That's kind of the whole idea here. No generic, you got to customize. You can use AI to customize it for sure, but cannot be perceived as generic. Riyad Jamor says, regarding the lead pipeline using Apollo, I live in the Middle East where Apollo isn't as helpful as it is in the US, for example. It doesn't have the same amount of massive data, very limited. What do you suggest for that? Thank you for the beautiful format, by the way. This helps people wanting to start a ton. Well, I think it's just false equivalency. If Apollo is helpful in the United States and you have access to Apollo, just sell shit in the United States, right? Like you don't need to sell to people in the Middle East. Don't get me wrong, you'll have a competitive advantage probably because of language and other stuff. Culturally, you'll be more in tune with what they are looking for. But yeah, just false equivalency. This is one of the most common questions, honestly, asked by people that are at the start line of their business. And I don't say this to offend you or anything, but the the question always comes down to some sort of pattern of like, hey, I don't think this is going to work in my country or in my region. It works really well for you, but it doesn't work for me. The reality is human beings are the same everywhere. So even if the Apollo, the specific lead scraper or aggregator or whatever, doesn't work, the approach and strategy behind outreach does. So you can hot swap it with some other source, essentially. Do I know what source I would use for the Middle East? No. But honestly, I don't even know if Apollo isn't bad in the Middle East. You might just be making that up for yourself. It might actually be, but I don't know for sure. Okay, I see you're asking a bunch more questions here. Let me just see if it makes sense for me to answer these. Okay, I think I'll answer this one, but I'm not going to answer this one. I don't want to spam the queues, but I just found a gold mine, so bear with me. You really did. You mentioned in one of your videos it's about 20 or 30K a month from the agency. Yeah, it was like $25,000 again. Why is it this low compared to community? Also, you mentioned that agents are bad, not effectively sellable in B2B setting. I think by that you mean agents as an N8N and make. Why is that? And what is your agency about then? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't even think about it, but agents and agency. I wonder if some people in the future are now going to start kind of conflating the two. An agent versus an agency. Don't agencies sell agents? That's really neat. Yeah. So why is it this low? I just don't really spend a lot of time and effort. I think we talked about the ROI on my time, right? I definitely don't make $3,000 an hour on my agency. I haven't actually checked in a while. It's probably like $300 or $400 an hour now at this point. So why don't I make more money? It just doesn't really make sense, if I'm honest. At this point, I have access to massive distribution, so I should just do the most scalable thing. You do not have access to the distribution I have, so you should do the agency thing. But I have access to a crazy amount of distribution at this point, so I should do the scalable thing. Info products are better. Liam Motley, who I'm in a group chat with, just dropped a banger quote the other day. He said, all roads lead to info. And I think that's true in our space. Basically, like the further down that path you go, the more likely you are to do info as a product, because info has zero logistics. There's zero delivery. It's just copy and pasting or letting somebody into your program. The vast majority of it is like pretty templated. You get massive leverage. So you're not helping, you're not implementing something for a business owner. You're teaching somebody how to implement something for a business owner. So you're one level up, and that person is going to implement 50 things to 50 different business owners. And those 50 business owners are going to use their processes and services to help a million people each, right? Like this massive leverage is just like the way you do things. So scalability, margins are really, really good. So in an agency, typically you have a significantly higher overhead because you're either working with people or you have to, I don't know, use a bunch of software to fulfill client requests, or you have to hire like one-off contractors to do specific things. So you just get like all of those margins back essentially in info. And it's just it's a much more streamlined business model, I would say. So am I saying that I recommend that you go in info? No, agencies are the best path forward when you're at the spot that you are at right now, Riyadh. So the reason why info works for me is because I have distribution. I'm going to hit 100,000 people on Instagram soon, and 80,000. Well, I'm going to hit 100,000 people on YouTube soon as well. I obviously have a ton of trust and reputation that I've built over the course of the last year and a half or so. So I can actually do info. But when I was at the start line, I could not do info. And so agency was like the logical next path. Yeah. Hopefully that answers that question. I'm getting a lot of this. And I get why. I'm like the only person that actually tells you how much money I make from my agency versus my info product. Nobody else is going to tell you this. Or maybe they will. I don't know. I don't want to like put words in other people's mouths or whatever, but most other people aren't going to tell you because they gain no competitive advantage out of it. But I gain a competitive advantage out of it. I gain good reputation. And I've used that to grow. So yeah, like, most people are asking me about this because I'm just telling you, like, I'm not making as much money with the agency as I am with my info products. And I guess that makes sense. But if all these people are going to ask me this, I should probably make some sort of resource I could just guide them through my logic on. Because this is like the 100th question on this. Hey, Nick, what are your thoughts on the stock market right now? I don't know. How's the stock market doing? S&P 500? Let's see. Yeah. Well, the S&P, I like when it's up. I don't like when it's down. Norm Macdonald has a funny joke on that. One of my favorite comedians. He's like, "Oh, the Dow Jones. I like when it's up. I don't can't be bothered when it's down," or something like that. So I don't really know, man. I'm not a stock guy. I don't really have many thoughts, to be honest. Do I think about any of this stuff? No, to be honest, I don't think about any of this stuff. I would just put your investments on auto deposit, like pay every, if you make $10,000 a month, pay all of the things you have to pay, and then leave yourself 10% to like go on a wild night on the town with your girlfriend once a month or something, and then invest literally every last dollar using some auto deposit service and just forget it. Doesn't matter. It's not relevant to you. If you just do that every month for the next like 10 years, you will be extraordinarily wealthy. If you just want to do some math here, assuming that I make the money that I'm continuing to make, assuming that I start from zero too, assuming I have no money at all, okay? Then assuming I deposit, let's just say 190,000. I'm sorry. I guess right now it's 100. I'm really dead set I'm going to be making 200K next month. But let's say it's 100 and so, okay, I'm just going to set aside $10,000 for living expenses, okay? So I'm going to do this for even the next 10 years. I'll have 30 million net worth. And that's assuming I'm starting from zero, by the way, and I'm not. I'm starting from about $1.5 million right now. So can I fuck with this? Sorry. Pardon my French here. It's a little late, so this is an after hours call now. So if instead, I do this for 20 years, I set aside $160,000 a month, and then I don't know, the interest rate's even a little bit better. I'm gonna have like $100 million. That's a lot of money. Obviously that's not the straightest line path to more wealth, but like $100 million and not having to make any sort of investments or whatever is pretty good. Now, do I think all this stuff's going to hold in the age of AI? No, actually not necessarily, but those are my thoughts on the stock market. Please, nobody leave stock market related things here. I'm not a trader or a investor really. I just focus on like business strategy for the most part. So I'm sure I offended a lot of people there. Sorry, but that's just how I think about things. Hey, Nick, I want to create an offer based on created custom bill LLMs. This is the last one I'll do, which is trained on their business SOPs, policies, clients info, and basically anything. So sort of an information hub where whatever data they put also gets saved to increase productivity and communication for built teams and speed up onboarding. Do you think this has potential to sell? Yeah, man, but dude, this seems like a ton of work, honestly. I think this seems like a ton of work. So don't build this first. Sell this first before you build it, okay? So go and like find the best way to pitch what you just wrote. The best way to pitch. And then write 9 more. Play around with like different ways to say the same thing. Write 9 more, have 10 total, and then get a cold email audience and just send 100 per offer or per pitch to that audience every single day. So 1,000 in total a day for like a month. And by the end of it, you'll know exactly what messaging resonates. And then when somebody bites, then you can go through the hard work of actually building out this system or this templatable system that does this, okay? Don't do it before. Just start doing the outreach. Okay. All right, well, I'm going to leave it there just because I'm running out of time today, but let's just really quickly do some brand stats. So scrolling down to the bottom here, it is now the 13th. Yes, it is. Main channel's at 72,629. Oh, let's just, okay, 72,669 it is. Oh man, we almost went up 1,000 yesterday. That's spicy. Can things get any better? For real. Daily updates is up 100. My Instagram, I think, is at 91 or 92 grand or something now. Jesus, 93,079. Oh man, that is, guys, today was a standard day. 1.32% on my main, 4.36 on the Instagram, and then 3.27 on the daily updates. That's nuts. I've lost my voice today. If you guys could tell, I was just in my girlfriend's family for a big chunk of it, and I was just talking over a loud boat ride. But don't let that just detract from this moment. This has got to be the biggest growth day on record in a very long time. Okay, so 2 weeks from my main channel. In insane growth. There've only been a couple of days like this in perpetuity. Like, check this out. I actually, since I started tracking this a month and a half ago, haven't had a single more standout growth day than these two. And I just had one today. So that's great. Really amped about that. Also, check out that Maker School churn. 17%. I mean, like we everybody here has been watching me probably for the better part of the last like 2 weeks. You guys saw the strategy that I put in place. I thought about this. I did all the strategy live, then I implemented it, and I've dropped my churn by 5%. You want to see how much money that saved me? That's made me? Okay. On a $120,000 a month product. Okay. $120,000 a month. Previously, it was 1 divided by 0.22. Previously, I would have made $545,000, assuming I didn't get a single other person in here. Okay. Now, I made $705,000. So I just made $150,000 in the equivalent of a few days by building out this strategy live in front of you, then implementing it. I'm going to continue implementing it. Churn is probably going to go down even more. So I'm probably going to end up making over $200,000. $200,000 in the equivalent of a few days. I'm not going to see this money for months, of course, but in the equivalent of a few days because of this churn stuff. So that's not taking into account the strategy that I did with Make Money with Make, where, I want to increase engagement and then I want to actually increase churn a little bit. And then I'm implementing that cap, which is going to make me hundreds of thousands of dollars as well. And yeah, anyway, I don't just mean to like proverbially fluff or anything. I just wanted to show you guys what it actually all looks like in practice. So that combined with the massive W on the brand stats and just the massive W of my own day is probably where I'm going to call it here. But just pretty stoked on life right now. Thank you very much for being with me. If you guys like this sort of stuff, check out Maker School. Obviously, the best 0 to 1 automation, AI automation agency program on planet Earth. Biggest one in school as well by revenue. Also, I just, probably like the highest quality. I really haven't joined too many other people, so I can't really say for sure. Maybe you guys have. And then if you guys already have a business, you want to scale it, I'm about to increase the rate of Make Money with Make. We're going to jump up to the 300s a month pretty soon. So that's going to be like almost $4,000 a year. So if you guys want to get in, I highly recommend setting a waitlist invitation now because applying for the waitlist right now because the second I get back to Calgary, I'm going to whip this stuff up. That's happening in a day or two. So that's all I have for you. Catch you later. Have a lovely rest of the day and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye.